Hello everyone, this is Steve Swenson from Tax Sale Support. In this video I want to talk about Colorado tax lien. Over the next month or two, Colorado is going to be conducting their tax lien sales, and so there's a lot of opportunity for tax lien investors to take advantage of the Colorado tax sales. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Colorado and how it works. As far as Colorado and some of the tax lien basics. First of all, the interest rate is a little bit lower than some of the other states. The way that they do the interest rate is in Colorado, it's 9% over the Federal Reserve Bank discount rate. And so currently the rate is just under 1%. So essentially the interest rate you'll earn in Colorado is around 10%. So you're still looking at a double-digit return where that starting bid is at. Now, as far as the redemption period, once you purchase a tax lien certificate in Colorado, or once a tax lien has been issued, 3 years from the date of that tax lien being issued, the lien holder or the lien buyer can go ahead and foreclose on that property to acquire the property. Colorado is a little bit different. They make it a little bit easier. You can do part of that through the county, and so we talk about that in our training program. But in looking at the foreclosure opportunity, there is opportunity to either earn your interest rate return or to acquire the property. Now, one thing that makes Colorado unique is not only how they do their interest rate, but also their bidding type. They do what's called a premium bid system, which essentially means that you're going to be bidding up the price of the tax lien certificate. Now, that's going to be a lot different than a lot of the other states like Florida or Arizona, where you're bidding down the interest rate. So you're starting at 18%, 17.75, 17.50, and whoever's willing to accept the lowest interest rate essentially is awarded the tax lien certificate. In Colorado, where they do a premium bid method, essentially, if the tax lien is $1,000, then the bidding will start at $1,000, and then it'll go ahead and bid up by $1. So 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. Now, when you're looking at doing premium bidding, you need to set your parameters and know exactly how much you can bid above and how much that's going to cut into your interest rate. Because essentially, if you're earning 10% a year and you end up spending $100 over the tax lien certificate, well, you're going to eliminate any of the interest that you're going to be earning over the next year. So in doing that, you're going to want to set some pretty good parameters and some pretty good strategies as far as investing or bidding on these tax lien certificates. But there is great opportunity to not only acquire good certificates, but good certificates on very valuable good property. There's a lot of good properties in Colorado. So as far as Colorado, one thing that's changed over the last few years, in fact, when we first got started in tax sale investing, there wasn't even such thing as an online auction, but now there's, even Colorado, you can see here, has quite a few different online auctions. Now, they're going to use a couple of different sources, a couple of different bidding companies to be able to conduct their auctions. And so some of them will use Real Auction, Grant Street Group, or also some of the counties use a format called SRI auctions as well. And so you can see the different dates here. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity over the next month to invest into tax lien certificates. And one thing that's nice about having this many different options is if, let's say, for example, maybe Douglas County or Denver County has some pretty tough competition at the auction, there's going to be plenty of other areas and counties within the state that you can participate in an online auction where there may be less competition. Now, as far as actually acquiring property through tax lien certificates, when you're investing in a tax lien, you're not investing into tax liens to acquire property. 95% of tax liens will go ahead and redeem before the tax lien holder will start or initiate the foreclosure process. So for most of the time, you're just going to be making that interest rate return off of your money. But what makes tax lien investing nice is if you do, if the tax lien does go to the end of the redemption period and you are able to foreclose on it, you're able to get some pretty incredible properties. In fact, here are two examples of properties that were able to be acquired through tax lien certificates in Colorado. This first property you can see has an assessed value of about $244,000. The market value is closer to about $340,000. Now, with this particular property, it was foreclosed on for $16,000 or $16,229 in delinquent taxes. So that's going to usually represent more than 1 year. That's probably going to be 3 years worth of of taxes to come up with that $16,000, including the penalties and fees. And so what this tax lien certificate holder probably did is he purchased that first-year tax lien certificate roughly 3 years ago. And then each time this property owner was late, they went ahead and purchased the additional tax liens on this property. So essentially, when they went to go foreclose, they already have all the tax liens on the property, so they were able to do that. Also, the property here on the right is another great property that was acquired. It was has an assessed value of 174, has a market value of about 260, and it had just less than $8,000, $7,774 in delinquent taxes. And so in this property as well, probably represented a couple of years worth of delinquent taxes, and each one of these properties were able to be acquired through the tax lien foreclosure. So 95% of the time you're going to be making your money back plus your interest rate return. But if you continue investing in the tax lien certificates long enough, then eventually you may have the opportunity to acquire a property like this. And so with either one of these properties, I mean, you're talking about a huge return on investment. Each one of these properties were picked up for, between 5 to 10%, maybe even a little bit less of the actual property value. So that's where, when you hear the keyword pennies on the dollar, that's kind of a half-truth, because 95% of the time you're going to be getting your interest rate return. But if you do acquire a property, then you are really able to acquire that property for just literally pennies on the dollar. Now, as far as tax lien investing, if you want to learn more, you're of course able to go to our website, taxsalesupport.com. We have some different membership options, and let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of tax lien certificates before I end this video. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go online, and we're going to look at a couple of different tax lien certificates. So here's taxsalesupport.com. This is our training website. You can see here there's quite a few different categories and options to research within the website. There's a lot of different information. And so here's our membership program. And if it's something that you're interested in, you can go ahead and sign up, and you can see all of the different things, all of the different services that are provided with being a member. You get our Ultimate Home Study course, 750-page program. You'll be able to take advantage of our bank loan certificate program, and you'll go through and see all of the different things that are available. And we have 3 different membership programs. We have a month-to-month membership program for $29.95. That comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can cancel at any time. And then we also have a 4-month membership program and a 1-year membership program that gives a discount for paying for months up front. So, for the 4-month program, it comes out to about $24.48 a month. And for the 1-year membership program, it only comes out to $19.58. So, let's go ahead and let's get into and let's look at some upcoming online auctions. So here within Tax Sale Support, we can see we have the auction calendar. This is going to have all of the auctions and list. You can click on any of these links to pull up the auction list. But we also have the over-the-counter database where we have thousands of tax liens and deeds available through over-the-counters. But we're going to go ahead and click onto the online auction tab. What we want to do is we want to click on online tax liens so we can go to the Colorado tax lien sales. So here you can see the different auctions that are going to be taking place in Colorado. Also the date of those auctions. You can go ahead and click on one of the links. Let's click on Adams County to pull up the online auction website. So here's the online auction website. Now the first thing you're always going to want to do before bidding, before participating in any type of auction, is you're going to want to go through and read the bidding rules. You're going to want to go through the training. You can see they have a general information, the tax certificate process. In addition with that, one thing I guess I should also add real quick is right here. Let's say you decide to invest in Adams County. You can go here to this Colorado practice site, and you can actually practice bidding on tax lien certificates. And so, especially with a premium bidding system where you're going to be bidding up the price of the tax lien certificates, it's going to be helpful for you to get your feet wet, to kind of practice this before you do it. So you can go ahead and sign up and participate and practice on purchasing some of these tax lien certificates. So let's go ahead and get back to Adams County. So here we're at the website. what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and look at some of the items for sale. So we can see here that they start by certificate number or sequence number. Number 1, we can see 2015. And what makes online auctions so nice is that we have the option to click directly on any of these links to be able to pull up the property record. Now, one thing that is, is looking over this list is we're not going to have a ton of information. So when we don't have a ton of information like this, just by looking at the list, we're really going to start researching the tax liens based on price. And usually you have a pretty good idea of how much you're looking to spend. What I'll generally do is I'll go ahead and click on one of these so that I can organize these lists by price, and then I'll go ahead and go down and look for tax lien certificates that are in the price range that I'm looking at. So let's say, here we're looking at tax lien certificates for about $1,000. Now, in going through this list, this is all the information we have, so we're going to want to go through and quickly do what we call the quick glance method of just going through and reviewing, and then also quickly clicking on these and seeing what the property is. So we can see that this property does have an address. As we continue to scroll down, we can see that it sold back in 2008 for $236,000, which tells us that this property has value. We can see that there's a building, it's residential. And we can also see that this property has an assessed value of about $15,000, has an actual value of about $236,000. As we continue to scroll down, we can see all the kind of information about this property. We can see it's just under 2,000 square feet, 3-bedroom. It's got a attached garage. It's got a basement. It looks like it was built in 1978. And so we can see some pretty good information on it. One thing we can also see is that the property owner's address and the property address are the same, which tells us that this property is owner-occupied. There's probably a pretty good chance that this property owner is going to go ahead and pay that property off. Now, if we see a tax lien certificate we like, we're going to quickly go to Google Earth, Google Maps, just to get an idea of what the property looks like. So we can go ahead and click on the street view, and we can see here a picture of the property. Now, one thing I like to look at is down here at the very bottom, we can see that this image was captured in September 2012. So with tax lien certificates, I'm going to want to, with the tax deed, usually I'm going to want a current photo of the property, but with tax lien certificates, this will usually be good enough for my personal research. So, and looking at it, looks like it's definitely a pretty valuable property. Let's go ahead and check out Zillow just to get an idea of what Zillow would have it valued at. So we can see the value Zillow has is $331,000. They also have a picture here, which was probably taken, and then down here below we can see information on this property, which shows us that this property at one time was trying to be sold. Now, this may have been sold by the owner that purchased it when we looked, or this may be from past 2008. Maybe they have listed since then as well. But we can see a lot of that same information. But overall, we're really looking at a pretty good tax lien certificate. So when we're looking at tax liens, what we're going to be basing that on is really the value of the property versus the tax lien certificate. So here we're looking at a tax lien that's about $1,100, and it's going to be backed on a property that's worth over $331,000. So even though Colorado is a little bit lower interest rate, it's still an incredible investment. I just read an article today that talked about had one of the stock gurus talking about how they believe that the stock market is going to crash like it did in 1987. Everything is coming together just like it did in 1987 to have the stock market crash. Well, I don't know if it will or if it won't. But what I do know is when you invest into a tax lien certificate, you essentially know what interest rate you're earning before you even, as you're investing in that tax lien. You've set your parameters. So on any of these tax lien certificates, exactly what you're going to earn. But what makes tax lien certificate investing so exciting and so lucrative is not only are you going to be earning that interest rate return, but this property itself is going to act as collateral for that tax lien certificate. So, you're looking at $330,000 worth of property, and that $1,000 tax lien is essentially collateral. The property is essentially collateral for that $1,000 tax lien. And so this is kind of the process that we'll go through as we're looking at different tax lien certificates. With tax lien investing, we just really need to make sure that the property has value, because, in looking at the amount of that tax lien versus the property, there's such a huge amount that even if there was problems with the property, let's say that one of these homes will run down or something like that, for a couple of $1,000s that it would take if the property owner still didn't pay, or for a $1,000 tax lien certificate, that property still has so much value that it's going to be a safe investment. Here's another property. We can see here's the address, so it does have an address. We can see that it sold back in 1995 for $77,000, has a warranty deed. As we continue to scroll down, we can see it's one bedroom, residential, has a assessed value or market value of about $144,000. We can see it's built in 1955, has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it's about 1,200 square feet, ranch, 1 story. We also look over here, we can see that the address is the same for the property owner and the property address, which tells us that this property is, of course, owner-occupied. Now, with owner-occupied properties, you're most likely, they're going to have a higher chance of paying off than, say, maybe a rental or something like that, just because people are, the homeowner is currently living in the property. But what we just essentially do is go through that exact same process that we just did. We can see, this property right here. We can see that this photo down here was from 2012, so probably, this particular area was photographed in quite a while ago. But still, we can see the property here. We'll also go ahead and check that property on Zillow, just to get an idea and see if Zillow's value is similar to the county value. So we'll go ahead and pull that up. We can see this property has a value of about $255,000. Also, this property rents out for $1,700 a month, or would rent out for $1,700 a month. In addition with that, we can see some notes down here below. This probably shows us that this property owner was trying to sell the property at one point. So usually when they have information like this that looks like it was written about, things on the property, upgrades, anything like that, it's usually because this property was recently tried to be sold. This is probably not coming from 1995. So that may be maybe the property owner is trying to sell the property so they can get out from it. Either way, they're delinquent on their taxes, and sometimes this information give us a little bit more insight into the property. And then, of course, once you identify tax lien certificates that you're interested in, of course, then you just, bid at the auction and set your parameters. Now, as far as how to set parameters, how to really go through the list and determine exactly how much you're going to bid, we talk about that in our weekly trainings, our weekly member trainings, and all, of course, the information that's available on the website. So, again, let us know if you have any questions, and we appreciate you watching this video. Also, we're going to be putting out these videos like this a couple of times a week, so be sure to check out our Facebook page, our YouTube, Twitter, things like that. We're going to be always posting new information about tax sale investing. So again, I want to thank you for watching this video. You have a great day.